Alright then, welcome back to A Brummy Wonders. Today I want to run you through some stuff that was just knocking around on my phone, which I haven't got around to uploading yet. So I'm just going to run it through in the guise of a slideshow. Well, not really. Basically just going through the files. So, backstory, I went to Birmingham Library back in November, so a couple of months ago, because essentially I did want to see what kind of things you can find there, which obviously aren't online yet, because anything that's online has been found, scanned in, and uploaded to various archives online. Anything else that isn't online, it's either still existing in book form, still in some kind of manuscripty form. Maps are all there. You can find old newspaper clippings. But I found myself going there straight into the local history section when unfortunately you can't actually remove any of these things from site. So all I could do was take photos of the books there and then, and of various maps and bits and bobs in the area. So this is actually a big map which is on the wall as you kind of enter the local history bit, and this is Birmingham in 1730, imagined and drawn from city records. So it's kind of, it's obviously we didn't have drones then, did we? So but they do a bloody good job. And like when you do start overlaying these maps with new maps, they actually aren't far off at all. Like whatever the system, which I know was like um, bloody hell, trigonometry and things like that, that really got the map systems around the world working for everyone. It's like we're all on the same hymn sheet. But yeah, anyway, I'm just it's pretty accurate, is all I'm saying. So I'm sure you can recognise St Martin's by the bull ring there, and you'll also recognise St Philip's or Pigeon Park, you may know it as. Ooh, where are we? Philip, there she is. Oh, I'm in the way, but just there, behind me. So it's all there. Cherry Street, all the things. You've got actual orchards at that point. High Town, which is probably literal the way they mean that, because it is all uphill, downhill. It's all over the shop. Our city centre, New Street, still there. No train line yet, obviously, and yeah, it's still a busy old place, and it's only got bigger since. Look at all those fields, bloody beautiful. But anyway, is that the River Ray? There you go. So this is the Digbeth end. Um, yeah, we'll have to go down all of that kind of history soon. But I mean, I did pick up a few photos of Digbeth, quite a lot of photos of Erdington and the kind of surrounding area, a bit of Sutton, I think, Lichfield Road and whatever else. So this is one for the Brummies. So thanks for joining, and I hope you have fun flicking through these with me. So let's start with the other map that I found. This was just plans from, when's this from? 1731 survey. So very similar to the last one that we saw, but a little bit more boring. But there you go, you can see Pigeon Park there with St Philip's, Colmore Road, very much non-existent at the time. I mean, this is where, yes, Snow Hill Station is now, and Hockley coming down here this way. I mean, yeah, this is back in its infancy, isn't it? But also, still quite a lot going on. Spicer Street, obviously rebuilt now at the bottom end of the Bull Ring itself, like the kind of shopping centre. It's kind of as you go down the hill with all those fancy new restaurants. They've renamed that Spicer Street since, so it's all coming back. There's Moat Street, which is obviously the moat around a manor house down Digbeth End, which none of that's there now, of course. So let's move on. How far do I have to zoom out? There we go. So I'm going to go for this Brookvale shot, because I don't think anyone, unless you've seen this book in particular, I've never seen this photo online. But look at this. Let me shrink me down, because you don't need my fizzog in the way. Look at that. So this is my local park, which is exciting, isn't it? There you go. The old boat racing. Back in the 1950s, this. So just before my dad's knocking about as a baby. This is what the people be dressing like. So he's all waterproofed up, isn't he? Ready for some kind of wet action. The boats are pretty big compared to those electric boats that you see in the La Reserve pool. Is it Powell's Pool in Sutton now? You just don't get many of these pastimes anymore, do you? And obviously, everything behind the park just non-existent yet, which I can only assume that may be the Park Road side of things, basically where I live. Oh, cool. But the people still very hatty, isn't it? The past, everyone in hats. Still not entirely sure why that's the case. Decent camera there, decent push bike there, two mates giving them backies. Lovely times. Love a bit of leisure history, but there you go. Everyone up for it at the time. Beautiful. Those trees could probably figure out if they are still standing. Probably. And here we just had, I mean, this is going to shoot all over the shop because these are just things that piqued my interest that I know I've mentioned in the channel before. And so I just kind of picked up everything. And then they're not in any kind of order because I was just flicking through random books and taking photos as I went. So here we have the 12th of December 1873, an order in council was issued to the Right Honourable Robert Lowe, Secretary of State, requiring that no burial ground be opened in the parishes of Birmingham, Edgbaston and Aston. Now, our main ones, I think it was 1962, the big Witten Cemetery, 1862, so 11 years before this, one of the bigger cemeteries in the area. It's no longer functioning, stopped in 2013, but yeah, so that one's already open. It's like they've already decided where the big grounds are, and we're just going to stick with them now. So no more new ones. So you got your discontinued ones because obviously they're going to start building on all of these cemetery lands, which happened actually when HS2 started doing some work at the end of Digbeth by, oh God, is that Foregate Street? Something like that. I can't remember what it's called now. Park Street. Yeah, when they started building the HS2 thing, they actually came across loads and loads and loads of bodies in the area because it used to be, yeah, the Curzon Street burial grounds, which was, I think, directly opposite the Fox and Grapes pub. Again, this is old history, and if you know, you know, and if you don't, I'll try and get through it all because where do I start? I can't just literally get you all up to speed on all the history ever. But if the things I'm saying jog any memories in your mind, I hope you're enjoying that feeling. So, bit of that. Bylaws for parks, found that fairly interesting. Obviously, these aren't laws, these are just things, civil matters. I'm not sure who enforces them, but just basic rules for park use, mates. The council reserved at the time the right to temporarily close the carriage drives for the purposes of repairs, fine. Chairs on wheels moved by hand with invalids or children shall be permitted to enter and remain in the parks, but bicycles, velocipedes, wheelbarrows, trucks shall be excluded. No dog should be able to enter or remain in the park unless on a cord, strap or chain, nor any dog should be put or allowed to swim in any of the water in the parks. No person should play at cricket, bowls, bandy, quoits, rounders, football or any other game, except in such parts where the park may be set aside for that purpose. No intoxicated person should be allowed to enter or remain in the parks. Profane, indecent, offensive or insulting language or behaviour, gambling and soliciting alms are strictly forbidden. No refreshments of any kind shall be hawked or sold in the parks except in the rooms, buildings or places set apart for that purpose and by persons duly authorised by the council. And no intoxicating liquors shall be sold or consumed in the refreshment rooms. Now, that's a shame, mate, really, because all the parks around here currently, apart from Witten Lakes, which has a new kind of education orchard thing, but no dogs allowed in there, which means you can't get a coffee when you're on your dog walk. And the only people walking around are dog walkers, so not sure who they're selling coffees to. But that's a shame, isn't it? And the reason you can't have dogs in that area is because they aim to get disabled children in every so often to teach them things, and disabled children are scared of dogs. So that means ban all dogs at all times, obviously. So that's a shame. What else? No smoking in any of the buildings in parks, even back then. And bands shall be allowed to play in the parks on such days, except Sundays. Pretty sure I've seen a band play in the parks in Droitwich even now on Sundays, but that's everything's changed, hasn't it? Everything's changed. Righty ho. Moving forward. No person shall remain in any part of the parks where the notice is placed forbidding its use. No person shall do any damage to the buildings. Ooh, that's gone out the window these days, hasn't it? No person shall capture any bird, nor take or disturb any birds' nests. No preaching, lectures, or public discussion on any subject, and no meeting for the purpose of making any political or religious demonstration. No person shall bathe in any water in the parks except in such that were specifically reserved for that purpose. And yeah, back in the day, Brookvale Park near me did actually have swimming baths, which is cool, isn't it? Hawkers and peddlers are not allowed to ply their trades. I've been tempted to just set up a bloody mobile coffee shop, but apparently I can't. It's illegal. I'll get charged £5. I'll get fined £5 back in the day if I did that. No person shall discharge any firearms or wantonly throw or discharge any stone or other missile or make any bonfire or set off any fireworks. Fair enough. No person shall willfully interfere with or annoy any other person unlawfully using the parks in accordance with the bylaws. No person shall willfully disturb, worry, or ill-treat any animal, waterfowl, or fish in the parks or in the waters thereof. No person, without permission of the council, shall fish in any waters in the park. And on the ringing of the bell, and I'm sure I had a picture of this before, but like the main kind of bowls area of the park here anyway, used to have a nice bell on a wooden stand. And yeah, that was basically last orders for the park. Bugger off. And I think I've actually got a little bit on the timings and when they close and open and sunset and all that stuff. That's a bit more specific to Cannon Hill Park. But yeah, there you go. Any person offending on any of the above bylaws will be liable on summary of conviction to a penalty not exceeding £5. Now, that's not a corporate seal, is it? Yeah, summary of conviction for a civil matter that the police aren't really asked about. I'm not sure how you'd end up getting fined on that, but there you go. Bit of Sutton Park history was out there, which was really cool. Ancient encampments and bits and bobs. I think that was the bit that was intriguing, actually. On the southern end of the hill ridge beside the railway between Blackroot and Bracebridge Pools is another site of some antiquity, shown on old maps as the ancient encampment. Here, beneath gnarled oaks and a dense covering of holly, there are a number of earthworks and entrenchments. This suggests an early fortified settlement, the date at which we can only guess. Oh, can I move me out of the way? No. But has been attributed to warring Celtic tribes. Cool, isn't it? There you go. So yeah, fascinating stuff. Fascinating. There's the old Roman road, a drawing of it anyway. That blasts through Sutton Park. There you go, with its little peak in the middle there to send the water running off into the drainage either side. Them Romans knew what they were doing. Right. And across, lovely photo there. And what we got here? About the Bracebridge Pools. I mean, I'm not going to run through everything because this can all be used for future stuff. There you go. I'm just, there you go, making charcoal in the parks there. Strange to say, industry has played a considerable part in the park's history, but has been met with little resistance, probably because of its employment in its wake. The very name of Sutton Coldfield is a reminder of one aspect of the industrial past. Sutton or Southtown. Oh yeah. A place south of another, presumably Tamworth, was Middleton midway between the two. Oh yeah, Coldfield or Coalfield, suggesting either a field on a hillside, more probably a place where charcoal burning was carried out. Coal. Charcoal burning in Sutton Park, and how it may have looked. So there you go. Clues are in the names. I'm sure we were going through this a long time ago on the channel. But the names are all the clues you need. Middleton, Middletown, between, Birmingham and Tamworth? I don't know. The Crystal Palace, which was in Sutton Park too. My mum has a little bit of memory of this place. When did it get smashed down? Demolished in 1962. So my mum wouldn't have remembered this, would she? But my aunt would have. Anyway, the Crystal Palace, the last century saw ever-increasing numbers of visitors to Sutton Park. In Victorian times, there were huge invasions by early railway excursionists from Birmingham and the Black Country. Every summer, the Birmingham volunteers came to Sutton Park to camp and do their annual military training. Sutton air was recommended by doctors, and many people actually stayed in the town for their holidays. very similar to like Malvern and Droitwich and all this. It was like get out of the city. The air is bloody horrible. It'll be better out there. And then yeah, they thought like the air was actually magical and had great properties, but it was just the fact that it was fresh and like even the water and all that good stuff out in Malvern. Yeah, it was. I mean, the water was probably much fresher and nicer too, but generally, it's all about that fresh air and just not being surrounded by idiots, I think. Right, where was I there? They were able to buy Sutton Park Rock to enhance the holiday resort image of the town. In 1868, the Royal Promenade Gardens, together with its famous Crystal Palace Conservatory, were opened on the site now occupied by the Windley Leisure Centre. Oh, which isn't the prettiest, but it has stood the test of time so far, and I guess it's a 50s build. Here, all manner of sporting activities and entertainments were, well, no, it's a bloody 60s build at least, isn't it? Because it's all been demolished. So, yeah, there you go. Here are the manner of sporting activities and entertainments were provided for visitors, and early in the present century, a fun fair and miniature railway were installed as additional attractions. You can see a lot of this history actually in the Bishop Vesey Weatherspoons on Boldmere High Street. They've got a lot of cool little historical tidbits from the Sutton Park area, including train tickets from when like that train line was new. So they look cool. And then, yeah, a little picture of that train in Sutton Park. And I think it says it moved to like a seaside resort, something like that. Well, that's nice, isn't it? All gone now, though. Little shots of the books I was finding, which were pretty cool. The village in its earliest times. Erdington in the Doomsday Book. Cool. So yeah, this is many bastardizations of what the name might mean, and you know, I mean, no one's really decided on why Birmingham's called Birmingham. Is it Bayorma? Is it Brummagem? Is it what? No one knows. But we all guess. We're all guessing. So Erda's farm, maybe Erda's home. Tarna's in town, but it also means homestead. Yeah. But there you go. How they appeared in the Doomsday Book throughout these little centuries. Exciting. I mean, it wouldn't have been there, would it? Because the Doomsday Book didn't happen until after 1066. There you go. Yenton. Right. This is a cool one. So actually, the oldest pub in Birmingham would be the Lad in the Lane on Bromford Road, not the Crown in Digbeth. Because I think the Crown claims to be like 1314, does it? This is a little earlier, at least the first instance of it anyway. So that's where it was the Old Green Man, which is after it was Lad in the Lane. And it just goes back and back and back, this place. And now it's currently doing nothing, which is a big shame. Yeah, it's just, I'm surprised it hasn't burnt down already, or maybe it has. But yeah, oldest thing going. William Fowler gave his presidential address to the Erdington Institute in 1885. He spoke of how great benefits he saw in Erdington having a public hall. It was erected, he claimed, as most of you know, not as a commercial speculation, but with a hope of pecuniary advantage, because it was thought by the promoters that churches and schools, good as they are in their way, do not meet all requirements of an increasing population like we have around us. So, there you go. Here's a cool one. So this is the Salford Bridge before Spaghetti Junction. So yeah, coming off Slade Road and straight onto Lichfield Road. Here's the original incarnation of that, with the old shops and houses and bits and bobs and tram lines and what is that, Charabang, or is that just a bus? Yeah. Look at all that. Stuck in time, in perfect focus. Well done, George. But all this basically gone. Replaced new things. Oh, Christ. Alexa's kicking off in the other room. The robot Amazon person. There you go. So what's this then? Erdington Village looking towards Sutton. So, it's where Blockbusters is, isn't it? And there's the church opposite on kind of Orphanage Roadway, on that Abbey Road, is it? Can't remember what it's called. Yeah. The old Swan pub there. Looking much nicer. Lots of plans back in the day by not the aristocracy, but the clever guys would meet in there to go through their plannings. So we're told. The old shops here. Obviously none of these. I think this is the Co-op now. Maybe the HSBC on the corner, but it's the old Diagon Alley days, isn't it? Okay, shooting over into Digbeth at this point, which I thought was pretty cool. Here is Morgan's famous sausages, made every hour. Have we got the year on this one? Unfortunately not. But there's a place now. Fancy fabrics and City Grill. So City Grill was Morgan's, the sausage guys, and it's kind of nice. I really like the sign. The gap between every and hour is a bit excessive. But how cool's that? Sorry to be bouncing around. This is just Birmingham history. I'm sorry. Get on board. There you go. So no major changes to the building itself. Wow, literally barely any changes to the building itself. 2 windows, 4 windows at the top, 4 windows at the bottom. All still there. But that's the problem, isn't it? In these old photos in their sepia tone, you really can't tell the state of things. I mean, in our colour cameras now, they're still not really realistic, because look at the sky there. It's just like what the camera can do. So who knows the actual colour of the bricks and just how nice or shit that looked back in the day. But everything looks nice through sepia filters, doesn't it? Take a photo of that today with the same filter, probably look lovely. There you go. And this thing down the Erdington end of Digbeth, which is basically that bit. The Nottingham Herb Beer House. The Nottingham Herb Beer House sold at 3 denaries and 4 denaries. Is that what the D was back in the day? A bottle when this photograph was taken. At a time when smoking was the norm, Erdington housed Britain's smokers' market, spanning 3 shops at numbers 215, 215A and 215B, close to the crossing of the River Ray, which I believe I have a photo of here. There you go. So smoking was all the rage back then, but then, is this a smashed window? Is it all gone a bit awry even back in the day? Because it's smashed up now, and we're going through big changes in Digbeth, aren't we? The BBC moving in, and lots of film studios and bits and bobs happening in the gentrification of all the archways that run across kind of Chent Street, Coventry Street, and all that. Yeah, all change, please, all change. Ain't that lovely? But again, if this was just in normal colour, it would probably look like a dog's dick, just like it does now. If that's even there. I can't remember. All right, and the other bit of Digbeth fun history is actually this is them ripping up tram lines in 1945. And guess what's being laid again in Digbeth as we speak? Absolutely ridiculous, but there you go. All the brickwork's coming up. They're doing it properly, or have they jackhammered through the concrete? What's going on here? But it's all coming up. It almost looks like they're installing it. It's such a clean job. But yeah, that's been taken away apparently. I don't know if they're making way for the or if the Camp Hill flyover's already happened at this point, because yeah, they're just clearing the high street. And this is basically how it looks now. It's a building site in colour. Here, a shop being taken down by a hand. I think it's a wardrobe shop. Mrs. B. French. Wardrobe dealer, there you go. Authentic. Oh, can't read that, can I? Nah, there you go. Some dudes knocking it down with hammers and spades. Don't need a hard hat when you've got a peak on. There you go. I imagine that exposed bit of horribleness is still there because that's what most of the high street looks like. Exciting. And then a little bit of history on the Old Crown here. So although a building of some description existed on the site from at least the early 14th century, recent studies have found that the Old Crown, a Grade 2 listed building, only dates back to the late 15th or 16th century. So that's this one. So it should still be around in time for the all the Civil War stuff that it claims to be a part of, with Charles's army knocking through there. I think that's what's going on. And an old photo of the rainbow. And it just looks like most pubs at the time were Atkinson's pubs. Oh, it's even called the Rainbow, still there. Look at that. Oof. So yeah, I think like as much as it was mostly M&Bs in our end of town, like Erdington heading into Sutton, lots and lots of M&B pubs, but Atkinson's seem to be the one. Are they the ones building these places? I'm not too sure. That's nice, isn't it? What's it say? Located on the corner of Adderley Street and Dairy 10, the Rainbow Public House is a rare survivor from a past when licensed premises could be found on most street corners. Now that's true, and that's probably a video I should do at some point. Basically, walking from here into the city centre and marking down where all the pubs used to be now. Plenty of times that my dad's told me about the fact that his dad, who worked basically, shit, what road was he on? Basically by thingy, Pump Island, by Matalan. What's that street called behind there? Can't remember, but he worked that side anyway. And then, yeah, if you'd walking, I think you'd catch the bus generally to get back to Sutton, Falcon Lodge Way. But if not, you could hit every pub walking back to Sutton and be absolutely trolleyed by the time you get home, which is cool, isn't it? There's the Rainbow fairly recently. I mean, it's changed since then. This is when they used to actually have good street closures and big events going on. But due to stabbings and just drug behaviour and bad boys, they just kept losing their license, and then toys were taken off them. But that's that, isn't it? I mean, behave yourselves or get more security. That's all you can do. Right. Now, the destruction of some back-to-back houses on Emily Street, which is again Digbeth. Look at all this. You can see there must be their basements with their fireplaces still going. Maybe these have just been filled, and it's a fun bit of history that'll be found in the future. But who knows? Who knows? But yeah, the dark times of the back-to-backs now. Dark times is in there's just too many people living in them, and the whole fact that they're there is because of the whole work ness, and there's just lots of work in the area. So like quality of living wasn't the top priority. It was just cramming people in, and then the families get a little bit too big. No one keeps up on the actual upkeep of the buildings themselves, and then it kind of turns into a slum situation, right up until the point where they're broken down. Because I'm reading a book. I think it's like War Trickles Down Hockley Hill, and he lives in a back-to-back, I believe, or in a court at least. And then it just sounds like just awful living conditions, to be honest. Like it's all just the one living room with the fireplace on, but all the kids have to bugger off because dad's coming home soon to have his bath in front of the fireplace, and it's just all doesn't sound nice, and it's in like breathing memory really for a lot of well, not really so much now. I guess we're losing that generation now, aren't we? The ones who will remember all of that properly, not just story time. So back to backs, good riddance. What we got here, a Birmingham Corporation bus lying on its side in the rain, having been involved in a damage caused to the house. This resulted in exposing the brass bed in the bedroom and providing fresh air throughout the rest of the house. The bus was returning to its garage in Highgate Street. Today, the frontage of the old public transport garage still stands in an ever-changing street. Wow. What did he do? Been a while since I've seen these photos too. He looks a little bit army-y though, doesn't he? I don't think we got a year there when this happened. So it wasn't a bomb that did that. A bus hit the house. Oh, that's starting to go. Awful. So, there you go. Mad. What else we got? Train station at Gravelly Hill. When it was fairly fresh, I guess. What's this particular card was posted in 1905. In the 1900, the Railway magazine reported of the Sutton line. The service is so good that it's not uncommon for people who reside on the branch and have their business in the city to go to and fro for their meals. The likelihood of Erdington commuter popping home for lunch and then back to work in the city nowadays is not high. In 1929, Erdington had 25 up and 27 down trains doing the journey to the centre in 15 minutes. 25 up and 27 down. What does that mean in train terms? Is it just through the day? Yeah, that must be it. Just like repeating train service. But how many carriages? Is it still 3 carriages at rush hour? Oh, it's all changed a bit there, actually. I haven't been here for a long time, but like you don't have this anymore. There's basically just that actual building, I think, is still the one. But this whole shelter thing isn't there, is it? With bloody chimneys and fireplaces. Better times for all. Maybe. And another cool one. So this is the corner where Maplin's was in Erdington. So that's Summer Lane, is it? This is the old Sutton Road or the new Birmingham Road or the old Birmingham Road, whatever. But this is all knackered now as well, boarded up. Maplin's moving out when everyone stopped using remote controlled cars and AA batteries. So it looked like, yeah, we had an actual petrol station, which there's still one at Six Ways, which is just like a couple of 100 meters down the road from here. But it'd be useful to have more petrol stations again. But I guess I'm speaking out of turn now because we're moving on to the electric car phase of humanity. So we'll never see them again. But even in my kind of childhood memory, plenty of fuel stations in the area. There was one at Stockland Green. There's obviously one. I mean, there wasn't one at Spaghetti, weirdly, but now there is. Um, there was one down Orphanage Road. They had one, didn't they? Anyway, we're not. You know, if you know. So there you go. Very nice. Very nice. Oof. Let me out. Oh, what's that then? Oh, the Six Ways was ringed with garages. This is the Apex service station at the junction of Summer Road and Sutton New Road. The site is now occupied by an electronics shop. So I think this book actually is from the mid 90s. So it's a bit outdated. Salford Bridge from Dwarf Holes to Interchange. Cool book. So there's a guy who's. I always used to find another photo of a guy who found the Dwarf Holes, and it wasn't this bloke. But it's in the Sandstone Ridge, which kind of marks the area of the plateau before you get to what is now Spaghetti Junction. It was just a huge. I mean, they're still there. The cliffs are there, but apparently in those cliffs at the time, dwarf holes were in there, which are like cave systems, that man-made cave systems. They think that could potentially date back to the Stone Age. But guess what? They ripped them apart and destroyed them when they built Spaghetti. So who knows? Never mind, eh? Never mind. Next. Absolutely ridiculous. But there you go. Dwarf holes at Gravelly Hill. This photo around 1895. According to Erdington local historian N.C. Meacham, these caves had a strong claim to Stone Age connections. They consisted of two or more holes carved out of the sandstone and gave access to large artificial ones. A third hole used to lie below the level of the canal towpath, which was built up to cover it in 1840. The deed of 1490 refers to several parcels of land, including two crofts of land called Dwarfen Holes. Unfortunately, they were destroyed when Spaghetti was built in 1973, so we'll never know their true origins. Whoops! Didn't matter, did it? What a shame. There you go. So what's that? A third hole used to lie below the level of the canal towpath, but was built up to cover it. Bloody hell. We lost a lot of cool stuff. These photos here, what we got? Salford Bridge. The ancient Ford Bridge was some 50 yards upstream. Originally, there may have been a narrow footbridge, and the carts would have used shallow ford alongside. A bridge on the present site was first mentioned in 1290 in a lawsuit brought forward by Thomas de Maidenhash against William de Birmingham concerning the fishing rights at Scrafford Bridge, which is Salford now, I guess. It was then called. It's probably derived from the Old English scrofe, meaning cave, hollow, or pit, and referred to the hollows or caves in the sandstone cliff nearby. Now, well, it's because like there's Salford in Manchester too, isn't it? Is that named wrong? Is that just a bastardization of words that we've just kind of gone there? Oh yeah, it's probably a ford. Or did it mean hole? Shame, man, shame. There you go. Tram line's being laid here, I guess. Is that what's happening? On Salford Bridge? Is that what's happening? Let's have a look. Salford Bridge in 1924. It's interesting to see how the present name was derived from ancient versions. The Scrafford form persists throughout the 14th century, but with different spellings, such as Scrafford Bridge in 1309, and 10 years later, Scrafford Bridge. In the account by Leyland in 1540 describing his journey from Birmingham to the Sutton, he states that the mile past Bremisham he passed over Sharforth Bridge. Since then, the name has varied from Shrawford Bridge in 1596 to Stafford Bridge in 1793. So who bloody knows what it's called? Is the ultimate message there, isn't it? We ain't got a clue. Cool photos. Ugh. Right, I hope you're still with me. This is fun, isn't it? What we got? Salford Bridge. The photograph shows the old bridge over the canal. There you go. The canal's thrown in what? Is that 1840? I don't think they're the oldest of the canals, which kind of start going in the 1770s. Is that how far back they go? But I loved this about the past. I mean, I don't like paintings on walls anymore, but this stuff was cool. Clocks and that. What's that? Plumbing? Nice. Nice. Now, my auntie might remember some of this. She was local to the area at the time. I don't know about these times, but she does remember the times pre Spaghetti Junction. And I do want to do a little interview about that one because there aren't going to be many people who know much about that soon. Such is life. So Salford Bridge, April 1925. The following few photographs show the demolition of the old bridge and the building of the new one. So there's, I take it this is demolition. This one. Look at him having a great day. This system of are they using the water and boats to tip these? Yep, he's in the water itself. Built to last, weren't they? Well, well, well. Incredible. Not a hard hat in sight, eh? Wonder how many people died building this. Not sure. Not sure. There you go. What we got here, the Salford Bridge. This photograph of Salford Bridge by Errol Francis is taken from a portfolio of images the city compiled by him for the exhibition Birmingham, the Architecture of Two Ecologies, held in the Birmingham Central Library in 1999. So maybe that's moved to the new library now. We can only hope. I'll give you a little bit more of a nose at that. But no major changes here. You can go and see this now. I even think that's still there. There you go. And here we have free Spaghetti Junction. It's where Power League is now. There's old high rises there, which you'd never guess these days, really. Yep, everything's moved. Is this where the River Ray starts to come into play as well? I mean, the River Tame, the canal itself. Train line in yet? Yes, it's there. There you go. And this will be Copley Hill and all that, I guess, is it? Is that what's going on there? So the GEC existing in the background there, the General Electric Company. Is that all happening? I believe so. So yeah, vast empty space here. And they did move where because that's Aston Reservoir, isn't it? And that gets a little bit redesigned. Look at that little bridge. Just made to pop you up over onto there. Ah, and through there, which is still there too. This is all just like massive work zone now for like Kia or the Highways Agency, whoever happens to be in control at the time. And just out of shot, Cuckoo Bridge over here. Oh no, this way at this bottom left corner, and then you would have the old power station as well, which is now Star City, just out of shot. But how cool! Well, pretty awesome. These houses still there. These buildings, some have come, some have gone. See the tram line gone by then. Wow. And here, little sports ground where Power League is now. The reservoir and the start of Spaghetti Junction being thrown together here. Which, you don't see many of these photos online yet. So all the piling going in. Looks like the destruction element will be done by this point if they're starting to actually build. They haven't breached the old bridge yet. Or is that the bridge that stayed in the end? I think so. All change. Another aerial shot there. Bloody hell. So let's get our bearings. Bloody hell. Back it up, back it up. So here, that's the Salford Bridge. Here, there's all the piling going in that you saw in the other photo. Well, we. All the destruction of the old homes here, which I've touched upon in an old video. I think it was Leamington Road or Leamington Street, something like that. There's Copley Hill, and everything left of that smashed up. And I do believe some of the old brickwork from these buildings is going to be buried underneath all the rubble, underneath Spaghetti Junction, which I am planning on having a look through because it's starting to fall apart with all the rain. Yeah, slowly wearing away at the rubble patch underneath. So yeah, some exposed cool stuff starting to pop out. But all of this, the old the new subways, all the horrible stuff. Wow. Some mad corners to navigate because it's not quite a roundabout at this point. So if you were coming from Tyburn, sweeping left into town. If you were coming from town into Tyburn, a nice tidy right, I guess. Is this actually happening yet? Oh yeah, and that'd get you around to Slade. That'd get you onto Gravelly Hill. So yeah, no major change there. It was kind of running itself. That's cool. Right. A little zoomy in photo of that. Just mental. Dare to dream, get stuff done, as long as the funding's there. Incredible. And another one, and another one. So there you go, a little bit further along in the building process. Yeah, 38M coming together now slowly. Wowee. As you can see there, where they've turned Aston Reservoir here into a nice kind of flicky, walky bowl thing, which is good. That bridge is not there anymore, I don't believe. There you go. What's this? That's the Magnet Centre, isn't it? The kind of pub for the GEC, which was just situated on this side of the canal. A little water tower there. I guess it was for the build. I think remains of that are on site. We've looked into this whole history in the past about all these lands and the shifted lands making this, making that, and blah, blah, blah. And this nice little rugby pitch up here. And then always trying to figure out what this building is, or this building is. No, this one. Can't figure it out. It's not a pitch there, I don't think. Or is it that's the building I'm always confused about? God. So much change. Well, there you go. Motorway there. 4 lanes either side. Wow. Just mad. Where do you start with these kind of things? What's this? Da, 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 da. It's the destruction of a row of houses on Milverton Road after a bomb landed in the back garden. Good lord. Yep. And these houses, basically the same design as my childhood house. Almost exact, to be honest. So good to know that they cannot take a hit, even though our ones didn't have chimneys on this back section, as far as I'm aware. No. Jeez. One bomb. One bomb, thank you, Mom. There you go. Hang on, let's have a look at the people. It's always good to see what the people are up to, isn't it? Oh, bugger. Put your helmet on, kid. Sad times on Milverton Road. So there you go. And this is a nice little thing. The fact that this has always been a chippy and still is. I don't know if it's changed in recent times because I don't go that way much for chips anyway. But yeah, this is directly opposite the Royal Oak pub and the Red Lion. I never knew this was a clothes shop before. That's just been basically abandoned since then. I think There's a bit of a. Oh no, it's a laundry. There's a bit of an accountant's or something there at one point, and then I think it's housing now. I'm not too sure. But again, I mean, I'm talking like everyone lives in my head. But I hope this is interesting to you. Or at least you like the old photos. What's that? Capstar. Willie's Capstan. Capstan? Who knows? Pop. Ordinaries. Hot pies. Faggots and peas. Oxhead. Row. Man. Do love a chippy. Great invention. There you go. 1858. Hang on, we did get a bit of writing in the photo there. 1 second. That's a shame. So yeah, Marsh Lane on the 10th of December 1858, showing Barnes's Fish and Chip Shop at number 4 and the Paragon Laundry. There had been a chippy at this address since the end of the 19th century. Yeah, and it still is. Still is. Right then. How many more have I got? Do I carry on? We may as well. Bloody hell. How far are we in? 46 minutes. Good lord. Right then. Let's just carry on. It's already way longer than it needed to be. So, a bygone age. This is Leaholme House on Shortheath Road. The house, which was built in 1894, is surprisingly still there. It's not anymore. In recent years, the building has been used as a residential home for old people, but this is closed and the building is currently empty and looking forlorn. All gone now. New builds or new garages standing there currently. Oh, the swimming pool's in Erdington. These were great photos, and this is where I learnt to swim. Nothing major changed. They got rid of all the brickwork, I think, for like these cabins or the changing rooms, and they just turned into your standard kind of plywood affair. The diving board was still there though, I think. Yeah, it looks lovely. But again, if you did have a colour photo, maybe it looks a bit grimier than it appears there. And here's the old reception to those swimming baths, which is a completely different scenario by the time I was learning to swim. None of these gates, nothing like that. None of this. It was just very much like a Birmingham council kind of setup, you know, with Mary behind the desk. But they did sell chips. They didn't sell chips in there, did they? But King's Standing and Windley, they were selling chips too. I don't think there was ever chips here. Sad. There's the two entrances to the swimming baths, and just on the left there, I believe, would be the Turkish baths, which I believe have all been destroyed now. I don't know what's going on with that building, actually. What we got here? One of Erdington's newest pubs, the Leopard in Jerry's Lane, seen here in 1961. It was built in 1939. That's gone now. There's just a sign outside, and it's housing. But they did leave the pub sign up. But that is gone. I think it burnt down in the end, as they do. Here's the New Inns, which was the 3 tons before. There you go. That's been going through some rough times lately. I think it was taken off the current owners and they were looking for new people to run it, but then didn't. And no one wants that to turn into houses too, because we're literally losing all the pubs in the area currently. So who knows? I don't know if they ended up keeping it or if they started working at another pub, like the Greyhound or something. I don't know. I'm not up to date on what's going on there. But yeah, there's a New Inns. Old Irishy, nicey old pub. The Royal Oak on the end of Marsh Lane. Rubbish photo by me there, but that's closed down now, which is a big old shame because the buildings itself are lovely looking. And then directly opposite that is the Red Lion, and I'd say M&B were bloody good at making pubs, weren't they? Look at that. No flagpole then. It was also a hotel, the Red Lion Hotel. Never looked upstairs to see if any hotel rooms still exist, but currently upstairs there is like a darts competition area. There's still the Royal Order of the Antediluvian Buffaloes, the slightly Masonic handshake club. Their little room's still upstairs on this side, which is interesting. I've got all the photos of that, so I should actually do a video on that because that's unseen by everyone. But here you go. It's a splendid postcard view of the Red Lion at the Station Road and Shortheath Road Junction. The present building, which was constructed for Mitchells and Butlers in 1899, was built on the site of an earlier Victorian pub. Was it? No, what did that look like? It was designed by the architects Wood and Kenrick, and the brick building with the horizontal bands of stone is a really fine feature. Andy Maxim as well. I'm sure my missus used to work at the Wellington in the city centre, and I'm pretty sure this guy makes calendars now of old pubs and bits and bobs. I think. Right, Scotland Green from Reservoir Road there. So there's another M&B pub. The Stockland also closed down now. If you go back onto my channel, you'll see the whole history video of that place and the shame that's currently unfolding. The freehold is currently up for sale, and I think it's only like 700,000, which is not much when you look at how much land you'll be getting. And hopefully the next people to buy it keep it. I've got my fingers crossed that it's going to be a Desi pub because I love curry. And actually, I love curry, but I love Desi pub curry. There's just another thing going on there. So there you go. There's the newly built Stockland Hotel, as it was then called in this 20s postcard view taken from Reservoir Road. A recognisable but much altered scene now with the bushes and trees. The trams and the man with a cart have long disappeared. And another shot of the green man on Bromford Road there. But they were saying it was the lad in the lane before, established in 1306. God damn. Are these glad rags? Wow. Not the happiest bunch, but I think the camera took too long to tell everyone to smile, so you just didn't bother. You know, the back end of the Stockland there. With its bowling green. And here a cool drawing of another pub called the Green Man opposite St Barnabas Church on Erdington High Street. I don't know what that building is now. I think it's a charity shop, but it's not this build. It's a very bizarre build though, with a bit of a like an observation deck on the roof. It's very weird, and I don't even know if that's there now. I'm just imagining an old photo of when that used to have that. But again, all change, all change. How lovely. Oh, the Acorn. Is he called the Acorn now? There you go. It's almost at a point in Erdington High Street now where you wouldn't be surprised if a horse just walked past and took a shit on the floor. So that was that book. And that was the end of my findings at the library. Now that's an hour you won't get back, but I hope you learned something cool there. I'm literally doing this for the future generations just to say it's there. Because yeah, I'll take photos of everything and then I'll just delete them because my phone needs memory. If we present it like this, it's a lot easier to watch back. And with the modern input right now, I mean, give it 20 years and this is what I'm thinking now. Maybe it'll be interesting and how silly I was to look back at this. Well, thank you for joining me. That's been a history of Erdington, Birmingham, bits and bobs that I found at the library last year. Thank you for joining me. Have a lovely rest of your day. Ta-ta.